მოგესალმებით საქართველოდან. მე ვარ ნინო ჩიკვაიძე, მთიების დამფუძნებელი და მისი დირექტორი. სკოლა ფუნქციონირებს თბილისში, საქართველოს დედაქალაქში. იგი ზოგად საგანმანათლებლო სისტემისაა. ჩვენთან ბავშვები 5 წლიდან 18 წლამდე სწავლობენ. ანუ ზოგადი განათლების 4-ვე სეგმენტი ფუნქციონირებს. მთიები 29 წლისაა. მასში 1400-მდე მოსწავლე სწავლობს, მათთან კი 253 თანამშრომელი მუშაობს. კლიმატის ცვლილებებით გამოწვეულ პრობლემებზე რეაგირება, ისევე როგორც მთელი მსოფლიოსათვის, საქართველოსთვისაც მნიშვნელოვანია. ამიტომ ჩვენი მუშაობის პრიორიტეტული საკითხია მოსწავლეებს სიღრმისეულად ვასწავლოთ კლიმატის ცვლილებებით გამოწვეული რისკები და საგანგებო სიტუაციებში ქცევის წესები. განვუვითაროთ გარემოს დაცვითი პასუხისმგებლობა. მაგრამ არ კმაყოფილდებით მხოლოდ სწავლებით. ჩვენთვის მნიშვნელოვანია ქმედება. მოვუსმინოთ, როგორ ესახებათ მოსწავლეებს საკითხის მოგვარების გზები. მათთან ერთად დავგეგმოთ პრაქტიკული ნაბიჯები და ვმართოთ მისდობრივი აქტივობები.
Our activists are now creating a model which will clearly show the effect of carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, on the environment. There are 2 jars in front of them. In one we only poured water. In the other we dropped in tablets of aspirin, which has an effervescent effect, as in it can release carbon dioxide into the jar. If you closely observe, you can see that the experimental jar has more temperature than the other, which is proof that the greenhouse gas effect is true and climate change is, by default, climate change is also real. With this experiment in mind, we will give out brochures and different kinds of papers to the school society and populace.
In our school, various types of waste are sorted and deposited at distinct recycling points. Plastic and paper are placed in separate containers, and students engage in composting using organic waste from the school cafeteria. The compost is transported to the Romi Forest Park, where our school students rooted the trees. The preparation of compost involves primary school students and teachers adding hay, soil, and ash to the organic waste, allowing natural decomposition over several months.
Lisi Lake is located in Tbilisi and has a recreational purpose. We often organize cleaning of this area. This time, we are here despite the windy weather. We didn't change the plans, and here we are. We cleaned the area, and at the same time we took water samples, which we are going to take to laboratory examination.
A few years ago, we, the students of MTiebi, planted and raised over 800 trees in the Romi Forest Park. The 11th graders of our school, along with their studies at a multidisciplinary school spectrum, learn various different professions, including the art of woodcutting, and they are now currently preparing wooden houses for migrating birds. The young members of our club have provided different seeds and are now preparing food for the wintering birds. In this forest, we build houses for birds on big trees and take care of feeding them. Because we know that there are a lot of migrating and wintering birds in Georgia during the autumn-winter period. So, as we all know, climate change has drastically affected nature. So we are doing everything we can to better this, to make the situation better. But we believe that only our help is not enough, and we should raise awareness in society, and we should change our lifestyle while we still have time to the better.
With this school, მთიების, Young Researchers Club's invitation, non-governmental organization NACRES's board member and programs coordinator Kaha Artsiwadze was present at school. He presented the topic impact of climate change on birds. Along with a lot of interesting information, students learned that Georgia is an attractive geographic area for migratory birds, and it ranks third in the world in transfer locations of birds of prey. In recent years, new temporary resting places have appeared, and Kumisi Lake has become one of them. This lake is an artificial water reservoir created in the 60s, which was supplied with Algety and quarry water. As soon as the water pumping system was removed, amount of water decreased and the lake became salty. The ecosystems of the lake changed, and researchers have noticed a flock of birds in the lake area. Together with NACRAS's employee Dachi Qanchaveli, we organized an expedition to Kumisi Lake. We would like to observe the migratory birds and find out as much as possible why they chose this geographic area. We want to check the pH of the water, salinity of the water, and observe the microflora under a microscope.
Now we intend to measure how acidic or alkaline are the water samples taken from Kumisi and Lisi lakes. It will help us to predict how harmful the elevated salinity may be to the lake dwellers, fish, gulls, and migrating birds.
So why are bees the most important creatures in the universe? Bees are the main pollinators of plants. Yield and multiplication of plants depends on their existence. It is not an exaggeration that if it weren't for the bees, life on Earth would not exist the way it does today. We know that bees around the world are facing a great danger, especially on the continent of America. Their populations are declining, the numbers have dropped heavily, and this is due to many factors. One of them being climate change and drought, the use of pesticides and herbicides, and genetically modifying plants. We took interest in Georgian bees. Historical sources indicate that beekeeping in Georgia had already been developed in 4th century BC. There are several bee populations in Georgia, of which mountain grey Caucasian honeybee is distinguished, which has a long 7 mm proboscis, is tirelessly hardworking, resistant to low temperatures, meek and not aggressive.
To better understand the problems of mountain grey Caucasian honeybees and beekeeping, we visited the elder beekeeper An Zortadzagalishvili in the village of Joport, who is affectionately referred to as Baba. Along with him, we talked to Tamas Guliashvili, a young but also an experienced beekeeper. As it turns out, the use of pesticides by farmers is a problem for all beekeepers in Georgia, but our country's diverse, rich nature allows beekeepers to better cultivate their bees. They keep hives in the high mountains where pesticides are not used and the environment is healthy. The number of Caucasian grey honeybees are not decreasing, but instead increasing, because more and more people are interested in the products. Quite interestingly, not only Georgian honey, but also other bee products receive the highest appraisals at almost all competitions. Maybe the climate change is not as prevalent in Georgia yet, and therefore it does not have a sharp impact on the Georgian honeybees, but we realized and acknowledged what a global problem the bee population decline is. Due to this, we decided to buy some bee colonies from these beekeepers and gave them away to help poor families who know how to take care of them. For this, we needed another private school activity to raise the necessary funds. People's made handicrafts, confectionery, soaps, information brochures of medicinal plants and sold them at the charity market. We can use the money received to foster the mountain grey Caucasian honeybees.